So, we've heard from Kevin why he still decided to play Mitsu Ryziel for this format. Why would someone play Maliss, I wonder? Let's find out.
What's up, guys? Sanjoli here with Edward Liu, who managed to get top 32 at YCS Vancouver playing Maliss. So what do you think of the deck in the current format? You know, a lot of people are saying that the Juhu decks just power up the old decks. Do you think that's true, or do you think the deck's still a very viable option?
I think Maliss it can compete in terms of power level with the other decks, and because Maliss is still doing the Maliss end boards where your end board's nearly unbeatable. And I just thought it was the best option for me because I didn't think any of the other decks were in such a high terms of power level compared to Maliss for me to play them because I have the most experience on Maliss. And I think it's a decent meta call for now if you know how to play the deck, as you see the less Lancias, because most of my losses were to Lancia.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's basically the same explanation as for the Mitsu Ryziel. But if you you just swap every mention of Mitsu Ryziel with Maliss and every mention of Droll and Lockbird with Lancia, right? It's just like, the deck's still pretty good. It makes pretty good boards, and people play less Lancia / Droll, so Maliss / Mitsu Ryziel can still be pretty good. And they were just more comfortable on the deck because they've been playing it for a long time, probably. And just hadn't had enough time yet to figure out like which of the new decks was actually better, and like they were more confident in their ability to play this deck, which all of that fair reasonings, honestly. And I can see it. I can see Maliss boards, like if you combo, you still win. Like that hasn't changed. Absolutely not.
So into the profile?
Yeah, so I didn't need to reinvent the wheel. It's just basic Maliss, but you just, because again, the deck, what it did before is still just as strong. It's just sometimes you'll get hit by the crazy new Justice format or Justice Hunter format combos with like Holy Sue Revealing and Azuna. But if you can play, you can win. So we're playing 2 March Air. So
how weak is Maliss into Izuna? I would imagine not much, because you can't get Izuna until you activate March Share, which, depending on the lines you play, is like relatively late. And at that point, I think the Izuna is probably too late, I would assume.
2 Rabbit, 2 Dormouse, and 3 Chessie. I was thinking about playing 2 Chessie and 3 March Air, but you just need the names that sum themselves. So I played 2 Underground, Terraforming, Gold Stark, Malice in the Mirror. I played GWC, MTP. So I played GWC because it helps you combo through when you get interrupted awkwardly, like with the Fimenas, the Azunas, whatever. I also just wanted it to feel safe against the VS matchup in case I got burned for too much. But you can side it out for sure. And then I played 3 backup and 1 wizard. I think that you have to play the 3 backup, because otherwise, without backup, the deck's consistency is too low. Like, it's unfortunate that Marcher and backup play into the Azuna, but you just have to play them to increase your ceiling. Then the rest is all non-engine. The choices are pretty self-explanatory. I played 3 Ash, 2 Nib, 3 Fua, 2 Perulia, Mag Druis, followed by Talents, 3 Imperm, and 3 Impulse. So the Bestial,
like Maliss and Yummy, I think it's not a coincidence that both Maliss and Yummy are the decks that play the most hand traps on average still, because they are, I would say, in engine, they have the biggest problems at actually breaking boards. If you compare it to K9 Vanquish Soul, K9 Crystron, Mitsurugi Ryziel, and even Draco Tail, I think all of those decks share that they can play pretty well into half boards with their engine. I think Maliss and Yummy both, because they both struggle from like the opponent removing their bodies from the board early, like they kind of are relying on stopping the opponent more or less like completely. Otherwise, they're gonna have a tough time playing into the half boards. Which is why I think those 2 decks are playing the most hand traps.
Lose a lot of power this format, but Magnuma is still such a strong card, and it's also sort of a pseudo extender, so I still decided to play those. And Called By was I was always siding called by, and I was always keeping it in both sides to hit Lancia, so I decided to main it because it gets extra utility.
It's also just like out of those decks that I just mentioned, these two are like the most one card combo-esque decks, right? Which, yeah. Of course, the other decks also have one card combos, but like the Maliss and Yami are basically very much one card combo decks. Like in terms of most, like basically all their hands.
The
like
Azunas and the Fimenas. Talents are just there because I was siding Thrust and it was good. Impulse is the reason you would play this deck. Imperm to pair with Impulse, and it's very good to hit Rippers. And of course you need 3 Fua. So the only thing that's not very standard Ash, of course, for the Charm.
Imperm plus Nib doesn't seem bad against Vanquish Soul Canine, right? Like you Imperm the Ripper to stop the search, and because whenever they go for Ripper, they play into Nib because they're summoning a bunch of times. So the Nib seems good after you Imperm a Ripper. Haven't really tried that off myself yet, but it seems like a good pairing. That's why Valor is the go right now. Valor seems a lot worse because the Ripper can actually negate the Valor. So, like, yeah, you can Nib after they negate the Valor, but they still get these searches with the Ripper, right?
It's just a 2 Nib and 2 Purulia. So I thought Nib was the strongest non-engine to pair with any of these cards. And Purulia, I think it was okay against most of the decks.
Same reasoning works against Crystron Canine. Similar reasoning, but not exactly the same, I would say. Because, like, with Crystron, it's a little bit different because Crystron at some point in the combo will put up another negate with Infinity, right? So you can't wait. Like against Vanquish Soul Canine, if they make Ripper and you Imperm it and then they keep playing, you can literally wait until the end of their main phase because they cannot set up another negate unless they want to make a second Ripper, I guess. So if they ever threaten a second Ripper, you might have to think about Nibiruing there. But like in general, you can just let them cook, right? But Crystron is like, okay, well, let me Imperm the Ripper, and then they put up 2 more level 5s, make Nova, and you're like, okay, well, I kind of have to Nib now, and then they might be able to keep playing after. Still, Imperm Nib is good there because you're taking away a bunch of things, right? You're negating the Ripper, and then you're attributing the Ripper and the Nova, and so on and so forth, and whatever else they have. So it's strong, but it's not exactly the same scenario. But it's good.
My opponent wasn't making the full board because they got Purulia, for example, for Yummy. I thought I was able to win. So that's the main deck. For the extra deck, extra deck's pretty standard. I'm playing Lingaribo, Link Disciple, because you don't need the second Lingaribo to negate a trap. And it comes up that this is a light.
Okay, I don't think we need to look at the Maliss extra deck. The side deck? Well, they have some stuff.
That it was necessary. I felt that the lines where I was ending on Bomber, I just ended on Firewall. And then I decided to not play the Canine cards because the Canine cards as hand traps. I don't think they're very good in Maliss because you have to dedicate 2 extra deck slots, which are like the Almirage and like the Dark, which could come up.
It is crazy though. Now that I've spent so much time in Master Duel in recent weeks, like looking at a Maliss list from TCG again. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, this still seems like such a powerful deck to me. Like this is very powerful. Like it's Maliss in the TCG is in a pretty powerful state. And then I think about just for a second how strong this deck is in Master Duel right now. It's absurd, man. It's absurd. All the starters are at 3. You have a second Gold Sarcophagus. You have Link Decoder. You have Appaloosa. It's madness.
And these 2 extra deck slots you're committing
absolute madness
for cards that you only see a third of the time. And I also just thought the confliction with Impulse, the fact that sometimes you get Cybers locked, so you can't make the XZs, was just not worth it. I also think that if you're not playing a full committed Canine deck and you're only using Azuna as a hand trap, you want Nash Knight and at least 1 number to pair with it.
I also think like this might be a hot take, but I think Izuna just as a hand trap, like when your deck doesn't have great synergy with the Canine cards, is in my opinion only okay. Like it's not bad, don't get me wrong. Like Izuna is a really good card even in other decks, but it's not like the crazy powerful hand trap that people think it is. I think it's good, but like I wouldn't just slap it into every single deck. Because also it comes with a break like the Lupus, and it is a little situational. You know, some decks will play around it better than others, and yeah, it's a fine card, but it's just not that busted.
And I just don't have the extra deck space for 4 cards. So then for the side deck, it was pretty standard again. I decided to play 3 Lancia just to respect the mirror. And then you can hit Luna Light. And
what do you think, like, when last format the percentage of people playing Lancia was basically 100%, where do we think the percentage is now? Like, do we think, like, if you had to like just give me a number, chat, like how, like, from like how many people are still playing Lancia? Like 80%? Like how many people stopped respecting Maliss entire? Because I don't think it's, I think most people still play it, honestly. I still think it's like a really popular side deck card.
But the issue with Lancia is it
we can
really
look at the top 32 deck list. They've posted them all. We can take a look at that.
So you could definitely debate cutting it. I'd say play 3 Droll just to cover up.
I guess same question about Droll. Last format Droll was basically at 100%. Yeah.
Yes,
I would say they're still at like 80, 90.
Now I decided to play 1 Shifter because going into his event, I was a bit scared of Draco Tail, and this just helped fix some side patterns for Draco Tail. And then for the rest
I think Lancia higher than Droll, honestly. I think Droll, you could make an argument to cut it. I think Lancia will be in most lists, though.
Side deck, I decided to go for Thrust package with 3 Thrust, Raigeki, Duster, Blackout, D-Barrier, and the last card was Rivalry. So I decided to play a Thrust instead of a Mistaken Arrest and Solemn Warning and any of the Solemn cards, because I think the ceiling for your end board is better with those cards, but if your opponent starts playing on your turn, Thrust is much better. And the targets to set are very good right now, because Blackout...
Thrust is an interesting card this format because of like the Izunas and stuff, and 5 mana.
It's very good against Yummy. And D-Barrier, again, I was a bit scared of Draco Tail, and it helped that. And Rivalry was...
Half of the top 8 were not siding Lancia. 10 out of 32 in Top Cut weren't. That's interesting. That is less Lancia than I thought, honestly.
Really good to help fix some side patterns.
Do you find there was much issue with people playing on your turn with the K9 cards, or are they easy to deal with? Or even the Holy Sue?
Like the Holy Sue, like the good thing with this deck is it has the most like in-engine outs to those cards. Like I had games where I was drawing Malice and Mirror to counter them. You have Ash and Impulse, so they're not that big.
That is true, but still, if they resolve Holy Sue, they probably win.
A deal, which is why I think this deck can still compete.
All right, any shouts before we wrap up?
Just shout outs to everybody who messaged me and support, cheering me on round 1 and 2, day 1 and day 2.
Like I beat every single Malice at Euros with Vanquish Soul. Because between you going first, where I think Vanquish Soul just cooks Malice when he goes first, and then going second, you also still have a very decent chance. Even though I played Lancia and Chaos Hunter at Euros to be like more consistent against Malice. Like, because that's how scary this deck still is when it goes first. And when people stop playing Lancia and Chaos Hunter, then deck becomes pretty scary.